Hello and welcome our beloved viewers to RTD's News English Edition. As usual, we'll begin today's news with the major and top highlights. Workshop on the assessment and perspectives of the Ministry of Social Affairs within the framework of the Solidarity Week. And on the international scene in Libya, more than 12,000 migrants in detention, according to the UN. Those were our top highlights, our beloved viewers. Welcome back to our newsroom. The Conference of Presidents of the National Assembly was held this Wednesday, January 19, 2022, under the chairmanship of His Excellency Mr. Muhammad Ali Humad, President of the National Assembly. For more details, let's listen to our colleague, Hidayah.
The President of the National Assembly was attended by the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed and the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament, Hassan Umar Mohammed Burhan, the presidents of parliamentary groups, the chairman of the standing committees, and the general reporter of the budget. The Conference of Presidents submitted to the committees these following 5 bills. The first, on the adoption of the 2018 financial accounts of the National Agency for State Information Systems. The second, on the ratification of the Protocol of Cooperation in case of maritime emergency. The third, on the ratification of the status on the International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology. The fourth, on the approval of the 2018 financial accounts of the National Social Security Fund. And finally, the fifth, on the approval of the 2019 financial accounts of the National Social Security Fund. In closing, it was recalled that the next plenary session will be held on January the 31st.
The Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity has chosen this year, within the framework of the National Solidarity Week, to promote a culture of governance of social affairs in line with our times, which is the fight against poverty by investing in human capital. Details again with Hidayah.
National Week of Social Actions is the appointment of the beginning of the year, through which the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity presents, evaluates, and also puts into perspective the strategies, programs, and projects carried out in the field of social development. The Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity organized this morning a workshop on the assessment and perspective of its ministry for a more promoted social and solidarity momentum. The workshop was attended by the Minister of Social Affairs, the Secretary General of the UNFD, the Director of the Money, members of the Parliament, partners, and senior officials of the Ministry. The objective of this workshop is to review the achievements of the Ministry and to plan programs to fight against poverty. It is important to note that this strategy, which covers the entire life cycle, is supported by accompanying measures that help households to ensure a permanent exit from poverty. Let us recall that since its accession to the World Bank Initiative on the Development of Human Capital in April 2019, the Republic of Djibouti, thanks to the vision of the Head of State, His Excellency Ismail Margele, since his accession to the Supreme Magistracy, has not ceased to work for the development of a national plan for the human capital.
The Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Mrs. Uluf Ismail Abdo, gave a speech in which she indicated that this workshop dealt with the outcome of the achievements made by her ministerial department in the fight against extreme poverty. She said that it is an important day to celebrate within the framework of the anti-poverty policy carried out by the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity. An exceptional day, and the outcome of the achievements and future perspectives must be known. To the Minister of Energy in charge of natural resources, Mr. Yunus Ali Gede, received today in his office Mr. Hussein Al-Nawaz, chairman and founder of the UAE Group Amia Power, specialized in the construction, maintenance, and operation of energy infrastructures. He is accompanied by Mrs. Basma Benhar, Director of Development Projects of the group. Let's listen.
Hussein Al-Nawaz in Djibouti is part of the implementation of the National Energy Strategy, which consists, among other things, to attract national and international investors in the energy sector to ensure the development of renewable energy in our country. The Minister of Energy in charge of natural resources assured the CEO of AMEA that he will find the support and assistance in the realization of any energy project, whatever it is, solar, wind, or geothermal. We are ready, he said, to move forward quickly upon finalization of the legal instruments of our partnership with the Ministry of Energy in charge of natural resources, said the UAE developer. Note that the AMEA Power Group, created in 2014 and based in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, is owned by the family holding and Nawaz Investment Active over 4 years in real estate, hotel, engineering, and services to industry. It employs more than 50 people of more than 20 different nationalities with its experienced teams. The group's success is based on a number of key factors from design to construction and operation. In addition to the capital structure of the project, it also has the capacity to deliver the infrastructures built in strict compliance with the set deadlines. The AMEA Power Group has already built power plants in Togo and Jordan within the framework of a public-private partnership.
A meeting was held this Wednesday at the Ministry of City, Urban Planning and Housing as part of the monitoring of the status of implementation of the PDUI2 and the BITS project financed by the AFD for a total amount of 13 million euros. Hidayah again.
Of these projects in terms of operational response to the problem of urban development, particularly the development of the vast Belbela district, several members of the government participated in this meeting. The meeting was also attended by the Prefect of Djibouti, the Mayor of Djibouti, the President of the Commune of Belbela, the AFD team led by its director, the General Directors of ADR, ONEAT, ADDS, and technicians from different parties to the program. For the record, this program, composed of 2 projects, aims to improve living conditions not only in the neighborhoods of Layablé and Moustika, the areas of intervention, but also far beyond, because it is part of a larger operation to restructure unhealthy and unmarked neighborhoods in the city of Djibouti within the Zero Slum program. In addition, the development is based on an overall coherence by taking into account the need to ensure good access to sector and at the same time to guarantee the continuity of the structural road networks, in particular by attenuating the geological barrier between districts formed by the wadis. The increase in the rate of basic equipment in the sector, which is currently largely under-equipped and does not meet the population's demand, the gradual desertification of the area, which should reach the density level of 200 inhabitants existing in the eastern zone of Belbela, and the response in terms of local facilities that should be provided to satisfy a growing population.
The Minister of Housing noted in her speech that her ministry is looking forward to carrying out more activities to meet the needs of the citizens, and that this occasion that brought together the crowd today will not be limited, but will be continued. The main objective of the implemented initiatives is to educate the people on the importance of participation and integration by working alongside the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity and the Ministry of Youth and Sports in order to open a community development center. Within the framework of the daily statement issued by the Ministry of Health on the current epidemiological situation with COVID-19, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Saleh Bonita Turab, announced the number of diagnosed cases and said, "Today, Wednesday, the 19th, 649 people were diagnosed, and the results indicated that 45 new cases of the virus were recorded, while 139 people recovered today, 764 were vaccinated, and no deaths were recorded." At the conclusion of the statement, Dr. Saleh Bonita Turab urged the citizens to receive their vaccination and adhere to preventive measures against the epidemic. As part of the 22nd edition of the 15-kilometer Djibouti Telecom and First International Edition, arrived in the capital Djibouti the first delegations of foreign countries composed of countries of East Africa, namely athletes from Uganda, Ethiopia, Rwanda, and Tanzania. This delegation was welcomed by the President of the Djibouti Athletics Federation, the Vice President, and officials of the technical direction. This competition, which constitutes one edition of the 15-kilometer, which is held every year with the sponsorship by the Djibouti Telecom. The Asawi Musa family is looking for their son, Hosh Asawi Musa, 31 years old. He has been missing for several days and has not returned to his home in the Kim of Balbala in Hoden. We ask everyone who can find information about this young boy named Hosh Asawi Musa to contact us on the following numbers: 77 84 51 18 or 77 88 86 68. I repeat, 77 84 51 18 or 77 88 86 68. We regret to announce the death of Noura Ali Salim, who died in Djibouti. Aged 85 years, the deceased left behind 11 children, including our colleague Gamil Zaid Ali, and 27 grandchildren. In this painful circumstances, we send our sincerest condolence to the family and relatives of the deceased. May God welcome her in His vast eternal paradise. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Shifting gears towards the international scene now, more than 12,000 people are officially detained in 27 prisons and detention centers in Libya, and thousands more are being held illegally and often in inhumane conditions in facilities controlled by armed groups or secret facilities, the United Nations chief said in a news report. Secretary General Antonio Guterres said in a report that the UN political mission in Libya continues to document cases of arbitrary detention, torture, sexual violence, and other violations of international law in facilities run by the government and other groups. The Tonga Islands appear devastated, with the whole section of their territory covered in ash or ravaged by a tsunami, shown new satellite images on which the volcano that erupted Saturday, January 15, seems almost entirely engulfed in the Pacific Ocean. 3 days after the eruption that caused the tsunami and killed 3 people, according to the UN, the extent of the damage remains unknown in this small kingdom of 100,000 inhabitants, cut off from the world after the break of the cable linking it to the internet. Well, by this, our beloved viewers, we conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening and thank you once again for joining us.
C'est que ceux qui ont joué au jeu d'action vont arriver à passer de 3 points à 4 points, alors que ceux qui n'ont pas joué au jeu d'action restent à une capacité de 4 points bleus.
C'était très inspirant de découvrir un jour que quelque chose d'aussi banal que les jeux de tir à la première ou à la troisième personne pouvait avoir un effet positif inattendu sur les fonctions centrales de l'attention.